You ever look at a company like Google or Tesla and just wonder, how? How did they get so massive? Well, I can tell you it's not just luck. There's actually a blueprint, a specific way of thinking and building that separates the companies designed for huge scale from the ones that, well, that just don't make it. And today, we're going to decode that very blueprint.
Okay, so let's just dive right into the heart of it. Why do some startups absolutely explode with growth, while others, even with what seems like a great idea, just fizzle out? The answer isn't usually the initial idea itself. It's all about how it's built, right from day one.
The very first piece of the puzzle, and honestly, I'd say it's the most important, is the mindset. The best way to think about it is like the foundation of a house. If you build a weak little foundation, you can only build a small house on top of it. But if you build a strong, scalable foundation, you can add as many floors as you want down the road.
So, what even is a scalable mindset? It's this really simple but incredibly powerful idea. Every single decision you make today has to be made with one eye on tomorrow's growth. You're not just asking, will this work for our first 100 users? You've got to be asking, okay, but what happens when we hit 100,000 users? What about 1 million?
So let's make this real for a second. Imagine you're building a simple task management app. The short-term thinking gets a product out the door super fast, sure, but it's built on a foundation that's just shaky. On the flip side, the long-term approach still starts simple. You still build an MVP, but you're using tools like cloud services that are literally designed for growth. It's like you're building the foundation for a skyscraper, even if you're only launching with the first floor.
Okay, so now that we've got that scalable mindset locked in as our foundation, we can start looking at the next layer of the blueprint. Because a mindset is great, but it's kind of useless without a clear direction. And that's where your vision, your problem, and your business model all come into play.
I mean, just look at Google's vision. It's not build a search engine. No way, it's this massive long-term goal. A vision like this acts like a compass for the entire company, guiding every single product decision, from search to maps to AI, and making sure everything is aligned with that huge, scalable mission.
And Tesla is another perfect example, right? They don't just make electric cars. Their vision is way bigger. It's about changing the world's entire relationship with energy. And that's why they build batteries and solar roofs and charging networks. The vision creates a scalable ecosystem, not just a single product.
Now, a big vision needs a business model that can actually keep up. The most scalable models are the ones where your revenue can grow exponentially without your costs growing at the same crazy rate. With SaaS, the cost to add one more customer is almost nothing. With platforms like Uber, you don't even own the cars. And with network effects, well, your users are literally doing the growing for you. And all of this really boils down to one golden rule of unit economics. The lifetime value of your customer has to be at least 3 times what it costs you to get them. Let me say that again. If it costs you $100 in marketing to get a new user, they need to generate at least $300 for your business over their lifetime. If you can't hit that ratio, your business model just isn't sustainable. It's as simple as that. Okay, so you've got the mindset, you've got the strategy. Now you need to build the engine. This is where technology stops being just about code and becomes your #1 strategic tool for enabling scale. Choosing your technology isn't just a tech decision, it's a huge business decision. You've got to ask yourself these critical questions. Picking some cool niche technology might seem like a great idea at first, but if you can't find any developers to work on it a year from now, you've just created a massive bottleneck for your own growth. This whole idea really comes to life when you compare the old way of doing things to the new way. In the past, if your website suddenly got popular, you had to physically go out, buy more servers, and install them. It was slow and super expensive. But with cloud services like AWS, scaling can happen automatically, in seconds. This frees you up to focus on what actually matters, building your product. And it's not just about being on the cloud. The way you actually structure your code, your architecture, is fundamental. Using things like microservices or an API-first design means your system is built more like a set of Lego blocks, not a giant monolithic statue. You can swap pieces out, upgrade them, and scale them individually without having to rebuild the entire thing from scratch. So you've built your scalable engine. Now it's time to add the fuel. But listen, not just any fuel will do. You have to focus on real, sustainable growth, not just numbers that look good on a PowerPoint slide. Oh man, this is a trap that so many companies fall into. 1 million downloads means absolutely nothing if everyone deletes your app after one day. That's a vanity metric.
What really matters are the true metrics, like how many of those users keep coming back week after week, and how often they're actually using your product. That's what tells you if you're really providing value.
And the ultimate sign of true value? It's organic growth. This is when your product grows all by itself, through word of mouth and people telling their friends, just because they genuinely love it and want to share it. It's the most powerful and the most sustainable form of growth there is, period.
So how do you actually build this in? The classic Dropbox example is just perfect. They created something called a viral loop. The product's main purpose, storing your files, is directly connected to the incentive for sharing it. It's a self-perpetuating growth machine because you're not just begging users to share, you're making it a natural, rewarding part of their experience with the product. It's genius.
All right, finally, let's talk about the system that holds this entire thing together, your people. A scalable company isn't just about scalable code. It's about having a scalable culture and a scalable team. You just can't adapt and grow if your team is afraid to try new things. A real culture of innovation encourages experimentation. It understands that failure isn't the end, it's just part of the learning process. And it invests in the constant growth of its people.
And hiring. You have to be just as strategic here. Probably the biggest mistake I see startups make is hiring a huge team way too early. The key is to find your product market fit first. Hire a small, core team of incredibly talented people. Then, and only then, do you start to expand in lockstep with what your business actually needs.
So there it is, the builder's blueprint, broken down into 5 layers. It all starts with the right mindset. That mindset informs your strategic plan. Your plan is executed with scalable tech, which is then fueled by real organic growth, and the whole thing is sustained by a culture and a team that are built for the long haul.
And that really brings us to the final question, the one you should be asking yourself. Anyone can build a product, but are you building a system, a foundation, an engine, and a culture that are designed not just to launch, but to last and to scale? Because that is the difference that truly matters.